This list is not exhaustive by any stretch, but it's a start. It gives you some examples of formative assessments you can do in your classroom. I'm sure there are some of these, maybe many of these that you're already using, but my hope is that these might be some ideas that you could infuse a little more, or maybe just remind you that you did know about some of these, but maybe you haven't been switching up your formative assessments as much as you'd like. So I'm just going to quickly go through each of these. So the example, non-example, this is a way that you have students come up with an idea that represents what they've learned, but also the non-example can really be a way for students to show a deeper understanding. If they can tell you what something is and isn't, it can be more meaningful than just repeating what something is. The four corners activity, that's another way to check where students are at with an idea. And again, that was mentioned with some of the talk moves in discourse last PD, but you can have the four corners represent really any answers that you'd like. It can be kind of an emotional scale, like I agree, I strongly agree, or it could be numbers, or it could be any kind of answers. And you have students move to the corner that represents their answer. And then once they're in the corners, you can even have those little clusters of students come up with some reasons for their thinking. You can do one sentence summaries. That's a really good way to have students come up with an idea to summarize or to encapsulate the day's learning. You can use think, pair, share, or ink, pair, share. Sometimes I like to have them write down their thoughts so you know that time is being used a little bit more, maybe effectively. And the 1 minute essay is great. I call it an essay, but it's really just 1 minute quick write. Tell me what we did today. Or you can form a question that really connects to previous learning or makes a bigger picture clear for students. Doing gallery walks and silent conversations, I've heard them use those terms interchangeably, but the idea there is students are able to move around the room and are writing to each other and responding thoughtfully to an image or some kind of big question. And this can be a way that you can kind of see where students are at with their ability to interact with each other, but also with the topic. Pass the problem is another fun one. So in a math classroom, you can do this by having a problem set up where each group starts and then moves the problem each step along to the next group. So each group then is answering their own question, but also as the problem moves around, you're now checking previous groups' work to make sure what you're doing is correct. So this can be a way to assess students' ability to find error as well as to do a problem properly. The whip around is a good quick formative assessment. Have like one word responses planned and you go around the room. Concept maps are really great ways for students to put down what they know on paper and kind of see how everything connects. Matching activities, that can be any kind of card sort or other activity where students are matching ideas and concepts or even categorizing things. Three truths and a lie is kind of like the example, non-example, where students are able to come up with a plausible but yet untrue fact related to the topic for the day. So all of these are ways that you can use strategic focused questioning to gain data on how well your students got the lesson's big ideas. These things can be done in groups or individually, or better yet, a combination of those. So I think it's really important to do a variety of formative assessments, but also assess students in a variety of settings because it might change the data that you get.